In the beginning of the 21st century, even our great city was not spared the ravages of crime, economic depression, and civil unrest. In a time of fear and confusion, the job of informing the public was the responsibility of The Hartley Show.
Welcome to The Hartley Show. Today we're going to be talking about all things Superman, the movies, the various TV shows, the radio show, and of course, the comics. So without further ado, let's get to it. Superman was created in 1938 by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Originally, they created the character as a bad guy, a bald, psychokinetic-powered space invader who came to Earth in a storyline called Reign of the Superman, but nobody wanted to buy it, so they rejiggered the concept to what was popular of the day, a hero, a brightly clad hero, which actually the brightly clad thing was a new thing, and they created the world's first superhero, Superman. So of course with Superman's popularity, you had him exploding into the world of media. First you had the radio show, which introduced Kryptonite, then you had the George Reeves Superman TV show, The Adventures of Superman. There was a not terribly well-known Superboy TV show that was of course followed up with Smallville, and then you had Lois and Clark starring Dean Cain and that what's-her-face Hatcher chick, and then of course you have all the movies. The seminal Superman the Motion Picture that everybody knows, Christopher Reeve. It went on to kind of become shitty. The Superman Returns, that, is sort of a lukewarm reception, and now Man of Steel. Little known fact, Christopher Reeve was so nervous during his first screen test for Superman the Motion Picture, you could see his pit stains from the white moon of Oa. So, of course, when Superman was first created in 1938, he had a much more simple slate of powers. He could leap 1/8 of a mile, he could lift tremendous weights, and nothing short of a bursting shell could penetrate his skin. But, of course, then came the atomic era. He became invulnerable enough that a nuclear bomb couldn't kill him. He developed the power to flight, and then he developed all these crazy fucking powers, like the vision powers, the hearing powers, and the batshit crazy stuff, like super ventriloquism and super hypnosis. In fact, at one point, he was able to negate all of his superpowers through the power of super hypnosis. That's why he ended up fighting Muhammad Ali, who kicked his ass, I might add. And all that other stuff like Torquism, Rao, super telepathic powers, and all this shit that most people don't even know about. And there were lots of little things that actually came from other media than comic books. The whole idea of the symbol being a Kryptonian symbol rather than just an S, which it originally was, came from, of course, the first Richard Donner movie. When they showed us Krypton, you had Jor-el sporting the S. Now, the Superman symbol as a Kryptonian symbol wasn't adopted until quite a bit later, fairly recently, in fact, in the Mark Waid Francis Laniel Yu series, Birthright, where they decided to say that it was actually a Kryptonian symbol rather than just an S. And Superman's gone through more than just physical changes. He's gone through massive personality changes, massive relationship changes. He started off as this absolute badass who was kind of scary. And I think the first civilian he encounters, he has to tell her, "Don't worry, ma'am, I won't hurt you." He was a lot darker when he first showed up. And, of course, he developed into this sort of father figure like Superman. Eventually, he even ended up marrying Lois Lane and even dying. We're all familiar with the death of Superman. A lot of rumors were that originally the first Superman big new movie was going to be about his death, in fact. He got a dog, he got a cousin, he got the whole damn city of Kandor. And then it just got to be too much. They shrunk his world back down. In the 80s, they recreated Superman, as they've done many times, and they made him indeed once again the last survivor of Krypton. There were no more Phantom Zone criminals. In fact, when they did touch on the Phantom Zone criminals, they were from another dimension. They weren't even from his own dimension because they wanted to hold on to the whole idea of Superman being the last Kryptonian. Originally, Superman's parents weren't anywhere around. They had died at a fairly early age. But again, in the 80s when they redeveloped him, they decided, he should have a human touch. Let's bring his parents back around. But now in the new modern day interpretation, once again, his parents are gone. And also, once again, there's pretty much no Kryptonians except for Supergirl. And of course, Superman's look has changed drastically throughout the years alone. The S has evolved through a buttload of S's. The first one was incredibly crude. We've got this Fleischer one, right to the modern day Man of Steel version, which is fairly similar to the rest, just darker. One of the new interpretations, the modern interpretation of Superman, is that in his early days, he just simply ran around in a t-shirt, much like this, and jeans with his cape. Now, obviously, the biggest change from the beginning of Superman to now is no more red undies on the outside. That drove a lot of people like me fucking batshit crazy. Red undie on the outside. I mean, come on, man. And then little simple things, too. Like, for instance, Superman's red boots didn't start off as red boots. They were sort of gladiator-style wrappings around his feet and eventually became boots they are sort of today. Actually, in fact, today now, they've evolved from the classic red boots into this sort of more metallic-y, armored thing. Not to mention just the basic dynamic of his costume changing from, spandex and regular clothing to a sort of more armored look that is sort of carried on now to both the comics and the new movie of Man of Steel, where it just doesn't look like spandex or tights anymore. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the Man of Steel movie and all the controversy that's been brought up because of this. Now, massive spoiler alert. In the movie, Superman kills somebody. He kills the guy at the end of the film, General Zod. He breaks his neck. One of the tenets of Superman, classically, was that he didn't kill ever. But that's fucking stupid as hell. In fact, the idea of Superman, who has said specifically, no one has the right to kill ever, is an insult to most of humanity. One of the basic tenets of human beings is we always find a reason to need to kill one another, right or wrong. But in many cases, we have wars for this. Saying that humans should never and don't have the right to ever kill anyone is an insult to every soldier that fought in every war ever. It's an insult to every police officer that carries a lethal firearm to protect innocent civilians. Now, I'm not saying I hate Superman or I hate this idea that came from Superman. What I'm saying is it's an old juvenile idea, just like wearing your underwear outside your pants are. Now, of course, nobody wants to see a Superman, or at least most people don't want to see a Superman who's a mass murderer and shows no remorse. And in fact, in the movie, immediately afterwards, he falls to his knees crying. Even if we are going to get led to a place where this is a Superman that never kills, and I hope we don't go there, because it's juvenile, this is still Superman Day One. Man of Steel is all about him becoming Superman. And people don't just magically snap their fingers and become perfect. They have to get there through trial and error, which is what the entire Man of Steel movie is about. Of course, one of the other big changes is the Lois Lane dynamic. Now, I don't think anybody out there with a brain in their head thought it was cool that Lois Lane, prize-winning, Pulitzer-winning journalist, couldn't figure out who Superman is because he does this. That's fucking stupid as hell, and we all know it. So the idea that Lois Lane knows who Superman is, and in fact many people in Smallville knows who he is, and are protecting his secret, makes a hell of a lot more sense than the idea that we're all supposed to believe these things confuse you that much, because I'm pretty sure you can tell who I am when I take these on and put them off, right? Little known fact, Superman is so popular it's spawned a world of rip-off or homage-style characters. You've got Gladiator, 2 versions of Hyperion, Samaritan, Apollo, Titan, Supreme, and arguably Captain Marvel. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed our Tribute to Superman episode, and of course, a giant thanks to Taz for hosting us for this year, and to all you people for watching. Hope to see you next season.
And cut. Great. Guys, that's a show wrap for this season, so let's smoke if you got them.
Hey, you know, I'm going to change right now, but we should have a meeting afterwards, okay, guys?
No, I don't think it's,
I ain't changing.
Yeah, I'm okay without a meeting. I'm fine.
Come on, guys. Hartley team assemble?
I ain't changing.
Yeah, so I was really happy that Grant Morrison got rid of the underwear on Superman's outside of the pants thing. I hated that so much, man. I mean, he's Superman. Superman, for crying out loud. What kind of Superman wears just underwear on the outside? I mean, come on, man. I mean, maybe somebody wants to see his penis. I don't know. But underwear on the outside was just so stupid. Nobody's paying attention to a damn thing I'm saying, are they? Nobody. Nothing. Bueller? Anyone? I got $50. $50 for anybody that responds to anything I say. I got $100. $100 for... Hartley sense tingling. There is something outside. Hartley team assemble! Hartley team? Assemble? Come on, I'm flexing and everything here, man.
Wood God?
Yeah?
Mole kick!
Oh, why?
You guys need to take a break.